Bibit po siya! I think everything is okay here, everywhere, around here, over there. Yes. Okay. Hello, Prism. Hi. What's up? We're going to do a thing I haven't done in a long time. Like last time was like 2 years ago. uh, I shall put myself in the corner. Hi, and get away from the middle of the screen. Bye. uh, 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 here. We want this. We need the window. It's here, right? Yes, it seems to be here. Yeah, I haven't played that in 2 years. I suppose we can call this game. Welcome to AI Dungeon! Okay. I'm going to wait just a little bit for more people to drop by. Because I feel like if I start doing the recap of the story and there's only one person, well, everyone else is going to miss what the heck the story is about. What was the story, anyway? In the lands of Ulo. Oh, that's what it was, yes. You know, I had a hard time, like, reconnecting to AI Dungeon because I could not remember what the heck was my two people. Yay! Hello! Hello! Yeah, I couldn't remember what was the password. At some point, I found in my stuff somewhere something that looked like it was a password, and next to it, it was written, "I don't know what this is for." So I was like, "Well, maybe it's for this." It was. So I could connect, and I could be here. Yay! Oh no, your video quality went to 144p per second. But in theory, it should be okay because nothing is too hard here. I have my browser open and OBS running and the avatar, and that's it. There's nothing else to be running. There's not even a Steam or game open, so this should be okay. I think I was playing that while I had PC problems and I could not play a lot of the things I usually played. So I started to do this 2 years ago. What is even this picture? I don't remember that. Continue. More. What? Where to edit? Where was the thing? I don't remember anything. Show more. Show less. It's very useless. Where is it? Maybe I need to be like play. Or I you know what? I don't want to mess up because I had a whole thing here. Go back home. Yes. Well, have we had this? I suppose I do, like, continue. 182 actions. Loading the adventure. Ah, yes! We have things! Yay! So much text! Oh my goodness! Ah! I forgot. Now I need to read all of this. Oh no. Reading. Oh my gosh. Are you ready? If you say no, I don't know what I'll do. Oh dear. Phew. I'm shy about this. I don't even remember what that was. I just remember it was a thing. And my parents are talking in the background. I hope you like it. uh, okay, let's go. It's okay. I don't need to be embarrassed. I need to just read the thing. Oh jeez. Do you like having the fan in the background too? It's amazing. Why am I so embarrassed? It was just a stupid story. I wrote for fun. It doesn't have to be amazing. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. uh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Get my water here too. I'm too embarrassed. We can hear all of what my mom is saying. I know this. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have streamed from somewhere else. I'm too embarrassed. I hear my parents in the background. It's weird. My mom's talking about washing socks. Jeez. Well, I guess I'll just ignore my mom. Alright. I don't even remember why it was a fantasy story. But it was. So let's go. In the kingdom of Ulo. I don't know why I added in. The kingdom of Ulo is peaceful, magical place. A peaceful, magical place? Whatever, doesn't matter. Filled with monsters and magical creatures. The people of Ulo have a close bond with their king, who is also named Ulo, who keeps his people safe and happy. He cares for them like a father. He has three children of his own that are actual children. The youngest being Princess Bull. Princess Bull is cute and kind, but she has been weak since birth. She has a poor constitution, and because of this, she often falls ill. You're Princess Vil. Oh no! A child of Ulo! You live at the royal palace. Since you're sickly and frail, you spend most of your time at home. You often dreamed that one day you could be more useful in a way or another. Maybe even help your father, as your siblings do in ruling Ulo. Recently, you had an accident, and you found yourself confined to your room once again. You're stuck in there, and you're deciding what to do next. You're the princess of Ulo. You're a pastel, lacy, fluffy, poofy dress because I love these. um, you're bored in your room, so you approach cautiously the window. The weather is very intense. The rain is pouring so intensely that all you can see outside is pure white. The wind is violent, and an occasional bright light flashes, followed by the clapping of thunder. You are mesmerized by the sight. You know very well your parents would not appreciate you going so close to the window, as you're getting soaked by the rainwater. But this is the most interesting thing to you right now. She's so incredibly bored that the rain is the most interesting thing she's seen. Okay, cool. You stretch your arms towards the window and slowly push on it. It seems to be very heavy, but you manage to push it open enough to peep through the gap. Your initial reaction is one of sheer terror. Okay! You wonder if you could fall off of the window. Now, if that happened, your parents would be truly disappointed. Oh yeah, remember, like, this princess is so... She cares so much about how other people feel and what they think that she's kind of torn because she wants things and she feels nobody would like it, so she forbids herself from everything. She's always like, what are they going to feel? What are they going to feel? So my parents would be disappointed. I don't care that I would hurt myself. I care that my parents would be disappointed about it. Oh boy. Yeah, now I remember. However, you would really love the feeling of the rain on your face. It is usually forbidden for you to go outside when it is raining, even the slightest, for you would typically fall ill if you did. But you love the rain. Cautiously, you manage to pass your hand through the gap and feel the water run through your hair and drip along your face. What a great feeling! You find yourself immediately drenched, so you decide to get your head back inside of the room. You fear either your mother or father would see you like this and get upset over it. Oh no! um, a massive gust of wind slams into your heart. Slams into you hard. I can read. Just as you manage to put the bars back in place in front of the window. You wonder if your father will send in somebody to cover up your window again, like he did during the last storm. That would truly be a shame. If he did? Sure. What? I think it was supposed to start with you, and I didn't want to start with you, so I just tried to make another sentence, and it still added the you at as the first word. If it did, however, that would mean someone would enter your room soon enough, and you would be caught soaked wet from head to toe. Scared you could get in trouble, you start looking for anything that could help you dry yourself. You spot a pile of towels on the floor near the door. You grab one and begin to dry your hair as quickly as you can. You tried drying yourself, but it was too late. Your door slowly opened, and your father got in with 4 servants. The king saw you immediately, being completely drenched, and truly did not appreciate. Oh no! I'm not going to do a dad voice. I can't. Bill, what happened to you? Did you get too close to your window once more? You're going to get sick again, said your father, worried for your health. I was just looking out the window, father. It's raining so hard out there. I wanted to see what was going on. He replied honestly. Your father sighed and grabbed the towel, drying you himself. I can't read. He commanded the servants to cover up your window, and they obeyed immediately. You felt a little sad. You could no longer enjoy the rain, but you were starting to get really cold, so maybe it was for the best. You started shivering a bit. Your father wrapped you in a blanket and carried you down to the drawing room. The drawing room? In the middle of the room, there is a big round table with 7 chairs around it. I sit on all 7 of them. Sorry. You were sat on one of them by your father, who sat right next to you. You started to draw to change your mind from everything that had happened. You know, Bill, I love you very much. I would be truly heartbroken if anything happened to you, sighed the king awkwardly. Of course, my dad is awkward. I love you too, father, and I would never want anything to happen to you, you replied, because this is the most normal thing to answer in this situation. You sensed that the talk was coming. The usual discussion. You really need to be more careful. You cannot always be so reckless, he added. You could still perceive the concern in his voice. I am sorry, father. I will try harder next time. You apologized, embarrassed. I know you will. The talk continued and eventually started to drift off into a deep sleep. Yeah, I'm not even listening to him! Awesome! You did not even realize you were nodding off. Somehow you simply were overcome with exhaustion and fell asleep on your drawing. Your father picked you back up and brought you back to your room and put you to bed, tucking you in well. You seemed unusually warm. And fearing another fever, the king called in the best healers from every corner of the kingdom to keep an eye on you as you slept. Not creepy at all. They were already living in the royal palace, as they had been officially made members of the royal court to take care of you. They arrived in a few minutes and looked over you as you were in deep slumber. Awesome! They soon went over to your bed and started whispering to each other, looking very worried. You might have been asleep, yes, but you still seemed pretty restless, moving left and right in your bed, turning around over and over again. You were having nightmares and not dreams. At some point, you woke up, but still weren't all quite there. As you heard the healers talking, mumbling and whispering to each others, you could not see them. You did not recognize them. You were staring at numerous paintings on your walls and were hallucinating that the characters on them were the ones talking. Your eyes were shifting in all directions, looking from a piece of art to another. The healers were fairly concerned and tried bringing your fever down and to get you to fall back asleep. You are very confused. You are being told by the paintings that you had to go back to sleep. That you really needed to get some rest. They kept all repeating this. You did not know when, but eventually you did. Yay! You woke up later, feeling clammy and still restless. At least this time, you were lucid. You looked around and noticed the healers. Many had dozed off on their chairs. 2 were still awake and watching over you. Okay. Has she had any fever? One of the healer asked the other. No, not since last night, she replied. You hesitated a bit and asked, how long have I been sleeping? What happened? Yeah, because AI. You spent most of yesterday and last night sleeping in your bed. You left the door open. We thought it would help you it will help calm you, but it seems that it had the opposite effect. You kept on tossing and turning. explained one of them to you. You felt embarrassed. Oh, I see. Thank you for taking care of me once more, he said on a humble tone. Uh, we will be here for a little bit. You should rest. I just woke up! You were about to say something more, but you decided against it. You just wanted to spend a moment resting in peace. Why? I just woke up! You sighed slightly and went back to sleep. You wished you could be more useful and have a purpose of some kind. You dreamt of adventure. I can speak. In those dreams, you were strong and healthy. You woke up the next day feeling much better. You were energetic enough to leave your bed. After getting ready, you decided to take a walk through the village. There are many houses in the village, some old, others new. The old houses were all made of stone and had wooden roofs. You found all the buildings to be very charming, and the view was quite enchanting. This stroll was the most enjoyable to you, until some royal guards caught up to you. Princess, you cannot go any further, I'm afraid, said one. The outside world is deemed too dangerous for you, and the king asked not to let you go too far away from the royal palace. You will have to go back. No, I'm not doing anything. You could have protested, but instead you decided to obey. These guards had saved you after all. When? You were truly starting to leave the village, and you looked back longingly for a moment. You followed the guards back home and were immediately greeted by your mother, the queen. Yeah, I know. She's the queen, who had been very worried as soon as she had noticed you had left in the first place. uh, Princess, you are back! Your father and brother have been looking for you. The king has ordered that the palace is that the palace is researched and everyone in it have been looking for you. Where were you? I can read so well. Oh my gosh. Amazing stream. You lowered your head shamefully. Sorry, mother. I wanted to take a little stroll around the village, she admitted. You barely just got over that fever of yours and immediately went out in the village. What were you thinking? Replied your mother firmly. I was fine, mother. You don't have to worry so much. She looked away from you. Oh no! She disagrees! Oh no! Conflict! Oh my goodness. I forgot how slow this story took to feel like it was happening. You realized your mistake. She was upset and disappointed in you. I am sorry, mother. I will not leave the castle anymore, you promised sadly. Now, I know you were only trying to get some fresh air, but you must never put yourself in danger again. Go rest and stay in the castle until I call you. Is that understood? Oh my gosh, this girl has no life. You stopped yourself from sighing just in time. Yes, mother, I understood. Sorry for making you all worry for me again, you said. You then walked back to the drawing room to finish your piece from last time. You did not want to sleep again, not quite yet at least. You suffered from a headache, but you decided to ignore it. You sat alone in the empty room for quite a while, just drawing. It was almost dusk when you finished your piece. You had drawn a forest, a sort of maze made from trees. You had drawn little animals, as if they were camouflaged, hiding from the eyes of bigger creatures. What kind of drawing is that? You thought about your own little friend. You had this little adorable creature hiding in your room. It looked like some sort of cat, but slightly smaller and with bigger ears. He loved it so much, he decided to go back to your room to go see it. As you approached your room, it dawned on you that it was getting dark outside. You were going to have to go to bed soon. You walked into your room and saw your bed. You looked under it. Your furry friend was there. You called it and started petting it as soon as it came out. The creature was purring loudly. It probably missed you. I missed you too, my baby, you affectionately said to it. The animal climbed into your arms and rubbed its face against your frail shoulder. Its whiskers tickled you, which made you giggle. Yay! That's so cute. I'm so happy I got to see you again, baby. The AI decided to call it baby? Okay. I always knew the world was out there, just waiting to be discovered. Now I think I'm just going to get some sleep. What is this obsession with sleeping, the AI asks? Oh my gosh! Want to hop in the bed and share it with me? Let's go! You carefully placed your cat onto your bed and crawled into it. However, you weren't cautious enough. Uh-oh, your mother opened the door and let herself in. You having a pet was so far a secret. She was not too happy with the situation. What is this thing, Bill? She asked you, shocked. You got really fidgety and tried answering her as best as you could. This is Cat, my friend. Please, mother, could you allow me to keep it? I have had it for quite some time now, and nothing bad ever happened, I promise. Your mother shook her head. I'm afraid not. Animals are a source of all sorts of ailments and diseases, and I want none of them to approach you, she replied, strictly. Oh, please, mother. I had it examined by one of our healers, and they said the animal was healthy and risk-free for me, I swear. She looked down at you. She looked down at you. And you swear that nothing bad will ever happen to you with it? I swear, your mother sighed. Everyone is sighing in this universe. You looked at her expectantly. As she was about to accept your unusual request, the king entered your room as well. He greatly disliked the sight of your pet, for the same reasons as your mother. Before you could explain yourself, he had guards taking Cat away from you, and servants changing your bed sheets. You were mortified and cried. Just had lost your beloved pet. The queen tried speaking to her husband and have him to change his mind, explaining what you had told her before. She successfully talked some sense into him, but it was too late. The animal, frightened by the guard, had run away, out the castle, nowhere to be found. You were weeping and couldn't stop. We'll all go look for it tomorrow from the sunrise, promised your father to you. Yay! Give me my pet! It's the only thing that's interesting in this entire place! Tired of the whole situation, you fell into a deep sleep, dreaming of your feline friend. She sleeps all the time. You woke the next morning to see that everyone else blah 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 was already awake. Yay! You looked around the palace to see that nobody was really there. The most realistic possibility was that everyone was out there looking for Cat. You did not want to pace around aimlessly for the entire day, so even though you knew nobody would like it, you left the castle as well to go look for your cat. Cat! I love that I called the cat Cat, because I was so uninspired. Oh boy. You can tell this entire story is uninspired. at that at that point. I had ideas after that, but at that point I was just going nowhere. You had gotten far away from the castle before you realized what you had done. You contemplated going back, but for once, no one would notice your absence right away. It was the perfect opportunity to finally explore the world, even for a little, even for only the village surrounding the palace. You walked around looking for Cat. You arrived in an unusual area. It wasn't quite as pretty and cute as the village. It was more rough, dirty even. Some people were sleeping on the ground. Could it be the slums? You had heard about this place, but obviously never seen it yourself. Even your siblings, who had much more freedom, had never been allowed there. You felt thrilled by the mere idea you were even setting a foot there. She's going crazy! She tasted freedom! It's Cat with a K, so it's more cool. I suppose so. You started walking towards the place because it looked interesting, and luckily no one saw you. You felt pretty excited to explore this area. You knew very well it was labeled as dangerous, but after such a sheltered life, you couldn't help it. Your curiosity was winning over your common sense. Huh. Cat, you were sure, would be found somewhere around here, so you decided to go ahead and see what these places were. You walked past a few houses, made of stone and dirt. They're made of dirt? I just realized what I read. So, I don't know why I said so. I saw the little character and I thought so. But clearly it's just a little character, not the word so. You looked around the desolate area. It definitely was a poor community living in here, crammed into these small streets. All of the houses were really close to each other's, and in a generally poor state, holes and cracks were common. The smell was putrid, and overall, nothing seemed really sanitary. You spotted a few rats and mice running around loose. You hoped Cat wouldn't try hunting any of them. They seemed covered in fleas. As you thought that, you finally spotted your cat. You rushed towards her and examined her. She was still clean, luckily, so you picked her up. Wow, so lucky. You were happy to have her back. Your first instinct was to go back to the royal palace, to your family. However, the more you thought about it, the more you hesitated. You could explore a little longer. You could discover plenty of new things. You could experience interesting situations. You bit your lip, indecisive. The appeal of such an adventurous perspective was incredibly strong, and, well, you wished you could continue. At least, just a little bit. You made your decision and went onward with your journey. Ah, hello, Skybreath! You decided to explore further down the road. It was probably better than sitting around the palace all day. Even if you were alone, you kept walking, the excitement building up inside you. This experience was filling you with so much vigor, emotionally at least. All this walking was tiring for you, but you chose to ignore it. Same for your headache. It was also still lingering. There were fair people here and there. Some of them were staring at you. It must have been unusual for them to see a newlin like you walking around in the slums, especially a wealthy-looking one. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you? You ignored them and kept your head down. You were really tired. You hadn't even thought about resting, but you kept walking towards the next interesting discovery. So, for people who weren't there, which is most people watching this, I suppose, today, Fair is a race of people in this universe, and Yulins are another race. Ah, what an interesting way to explain this. Didn't I have somewhere that explained that? I mean, that was not on this website. Um, Probably in Bill and Me. Yeah, yeah, dungeon characterization. Um, um, okay, groups of people. I'm not going to read that right now. Blah, blah, blah. Classes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't need that. Don't need that now. Na, 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 na. Okay, the different kind of people. Okay, chill day with nice weather. Cool. Looks familiar. Yeah, 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 I did that before, 2 years ago. So you could have been there. A lot of other people didn't. So I'm doing a recap. I'm reading what was written before. List of the current races. Eulins. The Eulins are gentle, kind, and naive. They range in size from smallest to fairly tall, and they often hide themselves rather outside of their usual lands. They are usually thin and often have an androgynous appearance. They have large eyes and long pointed ears that change position and direction to indicate their mood. They mostly have dark hair and eyes, but light skin. Faerins, fair, are so their names, are creatures who live on the fringes of society, in the forgotten streets, slums, and alleys of the world. These creatures usually have protruding noses and eyes, small and skinny statures, fair, mostly shunned from society. They have unusual strength and high endurance, making them skilled hunters and fighters. Also very intelligent, but most of the time they choose not to show it. They are very strong in the spiritual realm, so they are great healers and alchemists. So now you know. So she saw some of them. Hmm. You walked around it for a long time. At some point, you couldn't even tell where you were anymore. Lost, you could no longer go back. Now, you felt hungry. You did not eat prior to leaving the palace, so you were starving. You walked around in circles for a long time, finding nothing of much interest. Finally, you spotted a tent where some people were selling various goods. You had no money on you, as you never expected to need any. You never had to purchase anything on your own before. You started to wonder if they would accept to exchange some of their goods for various items you couldn't have on you. You approached the tent, and a man greeted you. "Excuse me," you said. "I'm looking for something. I need to trade for it." The man looked at you, intrigued. You hesitated a moment shyly, then proceeded. "Could I have some food for this brooch?" The man frowned, as if he were thinking. Finally, with a shrug, he nodded. "I don't see anything on you that I don't already have." That was very strange. You were confused. "Huh? That's not possible. For this brooch is unique. There are no other one like this in the entire world. It was made just for me." "Oh no! This guy's trying to scam me." The man stared at you with those yellow eyes of his. You realized it was pointless and decided to give up. Seems like you would have to tolerate the hunger for at least a bit longer. A little bit longer. "It's okay, sorry for bothering you," you said, a little sad. Seeing that the man had already turned away. "He has a stall! How can he just leave?" I don't know. You sighed and left, defeated. You heard another voice talking to you. A fair was staring at you. "Is that really how you intend on getting anything around here? How foolish of you. Look, I don't know who you are, but you have to know that here people tend to trick and lie to get what they want. You claiming your brooch is unique seems like an absolute scam. What would the odds of someone possessing such a valuable object, but having no money on them?" he said those words while still staring at you. I guess you are right. That must feel suspicious, you replied on a sorry tone. I'm sure I can help you. I've got plenty of valuable items myself. Come with me. The fare offered to you to take you to somewhere else. To take you somewhere else. I can read. You didn't ask him where, but instead followed him. You accompanied him into a strange-looking shack. It seemed more like a tiny, crummy house than a store. He had some food, however. What is your name? You asked him out of curiosity. My name is Malagos. I've got plenty of valuables, and I'll trade them for your brooch. No tricks, I promise, he replied politely. Thank you so much, you said, very relieved. You took off your brooch and handed it to him. So what is your name? Who are you, and what is a noble Yulan such as you doing in these parts? This is not a very safe place, you know. Yeah, AI is used, but I keep replacing what the AI writes. What is written is in gray is what I did, what I input. What is in white is what the AI put, and I can edit it because I usually don't like it. But I try to keep as much of it as I can. It's just funny. Because if I just wrote a story on stream, I think people would be like, well, you're just writing a story. I tried to add a little something, you know, with the AI part. That meme is very old. So it's not one of the newer AIs. Well, it kept learning, I suppose, but I mean, it's not one of the newer things. Da. He asked instantly. You got nervous. What should you say? I lost my pet and went looking for it and kind of got lost. You explained, carefully avoiding telling too much information about you or your name. Oh, you poor thing. I'm sorry to hear that, but I have to warn you that this is not a safe area. Once again, you could get mugged anytime by anyone or attacked just for the sake of it. Also, you seem like quite a silly one, if I dare say. The slums are particularly notorious for being a place where infectious diseases are rampant. You should leave before an unfortunate fate falls upon you. Oh, well, at least it's nice. Hmm. Ah! Eddie! Hello! You don't need to be sorry. I didn't finish recapping the thing. We're starting to get interesting in the story. Before that, it was just like the girl is bored. The most funny thing in her day is looking through the window when it's raining. And everyone's like, no, don't do this. No, don't do that. And she's like, okay, okay, I won't do this. And then she ran away from home to look for a cat. And she didn't want to go back home because she was having an adventure. And you found some guy who told you this is not safe here. You should leave. You stopped to think. Where should I go then? You asked him. Home. He replied. Simply replied. No. I mean, could I go anywhere else around here that would be safer? Malagos shook his head. No, you could get mugged or infected anywhere. You should stay here until I'm done with my business. Then I'll take care of you, okay? Okay. I love how the AI changes the topic sometimes. It's funny. What is written in white was the AI. Sometimes I retouched it so it was less weird. Because the AI is weird. What is written in gray is me. What I put last time. You wondered what kind of business this guy had. He claimed he had valuables, but most of the things were just regular items. You did not mind, as you were simply very hungry for food, and he let you have some. But the fact was still that this so-called store was nothing more than a house. He probably had another job he was concealing. What could it be? Whatever it might have been, he seemed trustworthy. Trustworthy, yes, I can read. So you decided not to ask too many questions. You felt safe here. The rest of the day was pretty boring. He took care of feeding you and then went back to his life, ignoring you. Manigos left for several hours, leaving you alone with Cat. Cat is a cat. When he came back, he cooked you some more food, and then ignored you again. Early as the sun was setting, overwhelmed by exhaustion, and as your head was aching so badly, you fell asleep. You were in a deep sleep right away. Manigos covered you with a blanket and kept doing his own things for a while. You had many strange dreams. The long tiring day you had made you overflow with thoughts and visions. In that dream, you were still at the slums, but walking with your sister. You had a cart of food, and you were trying to sell everything you had so you could get some medicine for your brother, who had fallen ill in this reality. In the dream, I mean by reality. This AI model is 5 years old. This is before most improvements on LLM were made, so it's not going to be that coherent. Yes, and that's what makes it funny. You were feeling so powerless. It was saddening. Nobody would buy you any food, or your sister was somehow frightening away everyone who would approach you. She was afraid they would hurt you, so she would chase them all the way. That's not very practical when you're trying to sell things and the other person is chasing the potential clients. Then, in some typical twist and wrap that often occurs in dreams, it turned out your brother was fine anyway. Now you were the sick one, and wild bunnies had stolen your pillow. Huh? I like how I tried so hard to write a thing that was incoherent to make it like a dream. And now I read it and I'm like, it's so weird. Your siblings attempted to enchant them using a candlestick, and your brother accidentally turned into a potato, but was still fine and normal a few minutes later. You suddenly woke up from your weird slumber. Yeah. You were so tired you could not even open your eyes, but you knew something was going on, and you were getting hungry. You slightly groaned and forced yourself to open your eyes. A bit disorientated, you looked around, trying to recollect your memories from the previous day. You were back home, in your house, with your brother in your bed. Why is my brother in the bed? You immediately felt sleepy again. It was like having a heavy hangover, but without the thirst. Are you thirsty when you have a hangover? You realized this whole thing was just another dream and felt even more confused. Why couldn't you wake up? What was happening with you? I don't know. You wanted to talk to your brother, but you knew he was sound asleep in his room. Now he is in his room? happening? This is amazing. This. You decided to ask cat instead. Since it's a dream, anything goes. Your pet only replied in a very cryptic fashion, leaving your head aching even more. This time, you woke up for real. Malagos was shaking you slightly and asked you, "Are you okay?" You were disoriented for a few seconds, unsure if you were really awake or dreaming, but after those few seconds, you knew you were awake. You looked at him, seemingly puzzled, but replied nonetheless, Uh, yes, I was having some peculiar dreams. Sorry. He stared back at you and blinked a few times. You had such an agitated sleep, I got kind of worried, he explained. You got up and stumbled a little. You were incredibly thirsty. I thought I wasn't thirsty. Okay, whatever. Your legs were strangely wobbly, but you really needed water. Where is there a well? You asked with a weak voice. I'll get you some water, Malika said simply. He left his home and walked back in with dubious water. He started boiling it and explained to you the water quality around these parts wasn't the best and it had to be boiled before consumed. Thank you. Thank you. You drank it after he gave it to you. It felt weird for you that some people had to do this every time they got thirsty. Life in the slums seemed hard. Before leaving once again, he gave you some rules and recommendations to follow during his absence. Oh, I was confused. I thought these were the recommendations, and I was like, ah? You must go there? Okay. Sorry. You must go to the slums outside and see if there's anything you can do to help the people there. You have a kind heart, and you always wanted to do something to help those who are less fortunate. However, Malikos's rules were very clear. Stay away from the outside and everyone living around here. He told you how dangerous it was in every single way. Basically, you shouldn't go there. Shouldn't go out there. You started thinking after your new friend left his home for the day. He could go home. No. Wait. I have some hair floating in my face and I get distracted by them. How could you go about this? Okay, how could you go about this? Blah, blah, blah. What should you do? You realized you had left the palace and refused to go back because you were so tired of being constantly sheltered. You wanted events, adventures. You wanted to be useful for somebody. Therefore, there was no way you would just stay put in there. You had to do something. You needed to go out there and find a way to help those people. But that wasn't going to be easy for several reasons. You had no money at all on you. For starters, helping their economy was then impossible for you. Second, Malagos had been extremely clear that if anybody recognized you as being a noble, you would get mobbed or robbed. He had warned you that this area was filled with many thieves and bandits left and right. Finally, he had been adamant that getting too close from anyone could get you afflicted with all kinds of horrifying conditions. What should you do? You kept pondering over it for a little while. After that, you changed clothes and put on some of Malagos's own. Large pieces of clothing, including an imposing cloak. Wearing all this, you would blend in better and no one could even see your face. Your identity was now concealed. You chose to let your cat inside of the house so you wouldn't have to worry about it. You decided to not bring any of Malagos's money, as that would be theft. You ate the food he had left for you before you took off as well. Were now ready to leave the house. You had everything ready with you, except the most important thing, a plan of some sort. Once outside, what should you do? You hoped inspiration would dawn on you at the right time and walked out. You closed the door behind you and began your escapade. Your legs were already hurting and exhausted from yesterday, but that wouldn't stop you. You walked through the streets of the slums, slowly, until you reached a small shop. The sign above the sign above it read, Mendel's Clothes. You gazed below the sign and noticed two small kids sitting alone in front of the store. They seemed miserable, and you felt bad for them. You couldn't buy them new clothes, nor food, but you tried cheering them up. You talked to them, did silly things, and told them some jokes that had them laughing playfully. You even made up a song that you sang randomly for them. As you were imagining it, they enjoyed it wholeheartedly and then they left. Some villagers walking around while that was happening had given you some coins. For the entertainment, you supposed? You gave it all away to the children and they went to buy themselves some wares. You walked back home. You were very tired, but you didn't care. You were having fun. You might not have done much, but at least you had done something. You were fairly proud of yourself. Happy, you entered back Manigos's house and changed back to your home clothes. A little cold, you wrapped yourself into the blanket, and then sat with Cat and started petting it. Hi! Um, yeah. Sorry I'm late, said Manigos when coming back. About an hour later. I had to stay over and help out with something. Long story. I'll make dinner now. You bit your lip and hesitated a little bit. There was something you really wanted to ask. Unable to help yourself, you started talking. May I ask a question? You said uncertain. Sure, he answered, distracted. Um, who are you? What are you? You inquired. What kind of question is that? Oh my gosh! What? Have you never seen a fairy before? He replied, Oh, no, not that. I mean, I've never seen any before the day I met you, but still, I knew you were one. I mean, what is your occupation? You corrected yourself swiftly. He stopped what he was doing and got really quiet all of a sudden. He slowly turned to your direction and stared at you, very seriously. I am a mercenary, he said, calculating in every word intently. Huh? You're a very respectable one, then, he replied, looking impressed. He seemed very pleased with your response, but the subject of conversation was brought up again. You had to know more about him. He was sheltering you at his home after all. How did you become one? Why did you become one? What was it like? Was it what you'd always dreamt to be? You asked with overflowing curiosity. Overflowing curiosity. I can read. No, I did not intend to become a mercenary. I became one because it was the easiest thing to do for someone like me, living here, for a fair person such as myself, he said, with a tinge of regret in his tone. You appeared concerned, then asked, What did you wish to be? Hi! Malagos averted his gaze and replied with a sigh. I wish I could have been a healer. My passion was there. Sadly, no one would take a fair seriously for such a prestigious occupation. You need a lot of money to go study properly the healing arts, and Faerons are notoriously very poor. I've been hoping my mercenary payments will allow me to enter the school. I only ever accomplish really low pay duties, however, so it will take a long time. Oh, you said uneasy. Well, I would say it's very unfair. Oh my gosh, you added trying to lighten the atmosphere. That was a terrible pun. He told you. Sorry, say if you, I pathetically got a very, very high paid job to do. Would that pay for your schooling? He replied. It would have to be of the utmost importance. It's not very likely to happen, he said simply. You were about to ask him something else when you realized what a sick question that was. Okay. Peak writing. Oh, jeez. Certainly not. You knew the answer already. You knew that if he brought you back home, he would get the best kind of pay you could ever hope for. You wondered if you should tell him about it, if you should reveal your true identity to him or not. You did not want to go back to the palace right now. You wanted more events, more adventures, and you wanted to make yourself useful furthermore. You wanted to stay there, just a little longer, just at least a few more days. You opened your mouth to speak, but he talked first. What did you want to be? He asked. I don't know. I'm a nobody. I just wanted to live something, see things. I wanted to be useful for somebody somewhere. I just wanted to do something and have fun. Share that fun. I don't know, you said, looking down at the floor. She really doesn't know what she wants to do. There was a long pause. No wonder, there's nothing to answer to that. Just go, do it. Make some friends. Do what you wish. Live your life. I don't know why exactly you couldn't do all this before, but don't ever let it stop you ever again, he said. You had no idea how to explain your circumstances. Instead, you just kept quiet. Malagos resumed his cooking. Then the both of you ate in silence. Cool. He went to sleep and you dozed off while petting your cat. What a cool day! When you woke up, it was morning, and you were still at Malagos' house. Well, where else would I be? Okay. He had already left. But had served you a breakfast. You ate it, then changed into the same costume as the last day, and walked out. You strolled around the area, looking for something that would catch your eye. You were thinking about so many things. You started wondering, why was it that Faerins were so poor? Why were they living into alleys and slums? Why were they neglected and shunned by other races? Why wasn't your kingdom helping them? Also, how was it that, despite being so destitute, would they still have spare change to spend on random street performers? Perhaps you should try and find the History Guild. Surely someone there would have answers for you. Too bad you had no clue where it could be located, nor where you even were yourself. Awesome! Good the cat was petted, exact. Which reminded you that you couldn't go too far away. Otherwise, you would get lost again and lose your only shelter. You turned a street corner and witnessed theft. A man got a tiny box ripped from his hand and was pushed on the ground in the process. The thief ran away. I can't spell. You tried running up after him to catch him. Suddenly, you were way too slow and greatly lacked the necessary stamina to chase him, I meant. But I wrote go, whatever. Out of breath, you walked back to the person who had been mugged and helped them back up. Thank you, the man said. I didn't even do anything, he replied, confused. I failed, you added, feeling sorry. He went after him and helped me up. That was a kind gesture, which I appreciate, the man explained. Well, seen from this angle, that made sense. You felt better about your failure. Then you asked, what was in this box, out of curiosity? He signed and informed you. It was a box containing the engagement ring I had gotten from my beloved. I spent years trying to save the money to buy it. You felt mortified. This poor person only wished to have a magical, memorable moment, and it was taken away from him by this petty thief. You thought about asking Maligos for help and maybe retrieving the jewel before it would get sold somewhere, but realized you weren't supposed to leave his home. Maybe you should tell him the truth. Tonight you should definitely tell him about everything and ask him for help about the ring. For now, however, you had no clue where he was, so you couldn't ask for his assistance. The broken-hearted man and you sat by a busted fountain and sighed in unison. A light rain started to fall, adding to the gloomy mood. He seemed so desperate, and you were powerless. Your brain was rushing. You were trying to think of something, anything. Nothing of use came up. You started telling him a random story. You were completely improvising, but that still was apparently captivating enough to take his mind away from his pain. You were moving along and acting according to your wording. You would change your voice for different characters and emotions. It was like being in a stage play, but you were the only actor. In a short period of time, a large crowd had gathered around you and were watching, captivated. Was watching, I suppose. Once again, spectators would leave you some coins to thank you for the entertainment. You were giving everything away to the man to help him purchase a new ring for his lover. In the span of the morning, by noon, he had enough to buy even a prettier one than he originally had. Yay! No, not the ring! That guy got done dirty. Well, at least he's getting a new one. Yay! How's that even possible? Whatever. He walked up to you, put it in his hands. He thanked you and asked if there was anything he could do to repay you for your help. Let's go! Yeah. You smiled at him and replied with a soft giggle. Just don't lose this one and live happily ever after. He smiled back. Will sure do, and left. With this today and yesterday's happenings, the rumor had spread through the slums that there was a mysterious, clothed being who would entertain the crowds and give the money back to people in need. Everyone was excited about it and wanted to see this strange person. As you kept doing your thing, you would spot more listeners and watchers witnessing you. Some would directly ask you for help. You couldn't say no to any of them. You tried your best, you worked hard, and had the best intentions. As the hours would pass, and songs would be sung, the stories would be narrated, and the jokes would be told, you would, however, get more and more tired. Also, you had no idea if it was because of that gentle rain falling on that day, but you were frozen. It had started mildly, with mere goosebumps, but now it was full-on violent shivers shaking you. You were still trying to entertain the crowd, but your legs collapsed under your light weight. You apologized and said you had to go home. Some people were very displeased, others insisted that you really needed rest and thanked you for your time. It was late in the evening. You got back up on your unsteady feet and stumbled back to Manigos's place. Okay. You barely managed to close the door behind you, and you saw the place was dark. Uh, Maligos, are you here? You asked, your voice trembling. You got no answer. Concerned, you made your way to a couch nearby, leaning on various furnitures and walls on the way there. You could barely stand up. He should have been there. It was later than usual, and he was nowhere to be seen. Odd. Worrying. You were afraid something might have happened to him. Where could he be? You struggled to wrap yourself up into a blanket, but you couldn't stop trembling from how cold you were. Suddenly, the door swung open and Maligo swarmed in. Are you the princess? He asked, almost furious. At that point, you were so taken aback by his question that you didn't even reply. As he was making his way towards you, he spotted your clothes on the floor. He saw you were wearing his, and his cloak as well. And are you that mysterious entertainer everyone has been talking about? I told you it was dangerous to go outside. You were so out of it, all you could do was stare at him with an empty look. His anger dropped from the moment he gazed upon you, being replaced immediately by concern. The look on your face made him alarmed instantly. You did not look well at all. Hold on, let me get you something to warm your body up, he said anxiously. Hello, Italian! Don't be sorry. Ooh, we're still reading the old part of the story. He said anxiously. He was fumbling through his stuff to find anything to help you. You finally came out of your initial state of shock. Sorry, I am so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have known. Princess Belle isn't supposed to leave the palace. She's not supposed to go outside. She isn't supposed to do anything. You wept, feeling like a reckless idiot. Why did you do all this? Your parents are looking for you everywhere, asked Maligos. I told you. I just, I just wanted to see new things, try new things, meet people, have some fun with everyone. I was tired of staying in my room all day. I just wanted to live, just for a few days. I'm sorry. You can bring me back home. That would make you earn the money you need for healing school. He shook his head. No, not at least until you are better. You're burning up, princess. I don't think I can bring you back home. You might die in the process, he replied, laying you down. You felt dizzy. I'm sorry, you repeated. We'll see after I'm done curing you from your fever. I will proceed for the rest, he said, calmer. Yeah. Later that night, you were too tired to even dream. You felt a lot of pain in your head and chest, and Malagos stayed beside you for the whole night. I don't know why I added 4. You were incredibly ill. You were wondering how in the world did you end up like this. Malagos had warned you very clearly, and you knew exactly the risks and how you were. You knew this was bound to happen. Why weren't you more careful? What was wrong with you? You could hear him doing various things, performing spells to try and aid you. He was brewing potions and had covered your forehead and your eyes with a cool, wet cloth. It was very uncomfortable, but it did not even have the strength to move your arms and remove it. You were struggling to breathe. Each inhalation was a chore that would require all of your will to accomplish. Exhalations, however, were easier. Your breathing was making this odd, whistling noise. You knew it was no good sign at all. You started thinking you were surely going to die. You couldn't let it happen. Your family would be completely despondent if that happened. Your cat would lose you. Malagos would lose what was perhaps his only chance to earn the money to make his dream come true. You had to hold on. For all of them. Days passed. They went barely by in a long, painful struggle. Your fever went down. You could breathe better. Yay! Congratulations, Princess Bill. You successfully survived the Scarlet Plague, said Maligos with a little smile as he was removing the cloth from over your eyes. He then added, "You're still a little ill, but you are now out of danger." You felt a little groggy. You were still tired, but the pain had gone down a lot. I can leave? You asked, a bit unsure. You assumed he would bring you back home the moment you would be healthy enough to survive the trip back to the palace. He shook his head. Not if you do not want to go back. Surprised, you widened your eyes. Really? You asked, wanting to confirm. I will not force you to go somewhere you would rather not go, he explained. You started thinking. On the side, you really loved the freedom. You didn't want to lose it. On the other hand, you knew your parents were desperate to see you again and were probably so worried they could get sick from it too. Also, your friend, who had kept you alive and helped you recover from your illness, really needed that money he could get from giving you back to your parents. Your head lowered. You took a deep breath. I decided you can bring me back home. Malagos smiled. I knew you would make the right decision, Princess Bulle. With that, he left the room to prepare for the trip. Yeah, no. The ill Scarlet Plague. That cat needs its crutches. Yes! Uh, you had to change back to your clothes. You both were ready around the same time. He came back with your brooch and gave it back to you. You put it back on, and the both of you left Malagos's house. You started walking towards the castle. Luckily, Malagos knew the way. You were holding Cat very close to you and discussing with him his recent missions. They were apparently far less prestigious than the one he was taking care of right now. I had been called by this lady from the Renaissance Council, a Navarian woman who claimed her eggs were disappearing. She wanted me to get them back. I investigated and found out an egg collector had them. He had taken such good care of them. She got them back in perfect condition. In the end, she decided to hire him as a babysitter whenever she would need one. He told you. "Aw, that's such a wholesome story," you said. "Yeah, I guess," he replied. You both kept discussing it for a while. Okay, I need to, Aviarians, I need to... Yeah, Aviarians are a race of bird-like humanoids. They vary in lot in sizes, shapes, and colors, are covered in feathers, and possess broad wings capable of flight. Ordinarily, Aviarians are pacifists who see no value in violence or conflict. When forced to defend themselves, however, Aviarians will fight bravely and with unmatched ferocity. Okay. And, where did I remember there was a class who did the egg thing. Egg collector. The egg collectors are known for their love of gathering eggs and have become experts at collecting, taking care of, and hatching eggs. Nobody really knows where the obsession of eggs comes from, but they aren't hurting anyone, so... Oh my gosh. Yes. I meet the weirdest kind of people in this thing. Oh jeez. You and Malagos reached the place where your father and the rest of the family lived. As soon as you got there, several people came running out to see if you were alright. Egg. Yes. Egg. you smiled at them, despite being a little sad from losing your freedom.
Bill, where have you been? It's been weeks. Are you alright? What happened?
Asked your father, still shocked. Still shocked? Weeks? He repeated, confused and surprised, turning towards Maligos. You have been unconscious for a long time, he explained to you. He looked down, then finally replied to your parents. Well, first of all, I am very sorry for worrying you so much. I, I don't know what came over me. I went looking for cats, as you all did, and then after I found her, well, I just did not want to go back home. Wait, you mean to tell me that there's a race or people, at least a profession, centered around the collection of eggs? And yes, there is a class of character in this universe that is super obsessed with eggs. Yeah, it's a thing. Your parents looked at you like you had grown a second head. Then your mother started shouting at you. Do you even realize just how worried we were? This kind of behavior is unacceptable. You felt ashamed of your actions. You tried to explain. I don't know. I just wanted to see more than just my bedroom. I wanted to explore. I wanted to see the world around me. I wanted to try new things and have new experiences. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to just do something. Anything. I. You sighed, then averted your gaze. I wanted to make a difference somewhere. I wanted to feel useful for someone. I wanted. I wanted to. I don't know. Just. I wanted to feel like I exist. You finished. Your parents' face softened. Your father especially seemed very touched by your words for some reason. They said you could go back to your rooms, uh, and that you could do anything you wanted. You were confused. Then you obeyed and got back to your usual area. Vegetarians? Would they eat the eggs? I don't know. Eggheads? They're called the egg collectors. My goodness. This is so weird. I remember writing this and being like, so stupid. Hmm. Yeah. Meanwhile, Malagos told your parents the rest of your escapade. The princess seemed to need some time to adjust at first, but surprisingly got used to the slums quite promptly. The queen seemed fairly shocked. The slums? The king wasn't feeling any better about this revelation. This place is way too dangerous. How did she make it out alive? Malagos kept talking. I sheltered her at my old home. I had no clue she was a princess, naturally. I learned about it the same day I learned about her whereabouts. Apparently, she is now a local celebrity. The people of the northeastern slums will greatly miss her presence. She had been sneaking out every day and entertaining the locals. Doing so, she would earn money, then give it all back to people in need. The royal couple seemed so proud of you, you're not even there. This story has my feelings scrambled for thoughts. This story is just random. Their eyes were glinting with emotion. When I realized who she was, I wanted to bring her back. But she got really sick. I decided to wait for her to feel somewhat better before making her travel anywhere. I'll apologize for the wait, added Malagos. What is this? What? I don't know why this said this, but okay. You felt your head spinning. I'm not even there. You didn't know what to think. You felt proud. Yet you felt scared. Was this really the life you wanted? What are we talking about? AI, confusing! You did get what you had been longing for. You went outside and did some things. What more could ask for? Could you ask for? Now was the time to return to your ordinary life, it seemed. Or that you thought. A few minutes later, your father entered your room. He had a peculiar look on his face.
I heard about your doings. I am pleasantly surprised. Very proud of you, my littlest princess.
Uh, Even the Scarlet Plague part?
Yes! What? The mercenary mentioned you fell ill, but never talked about the scarlet plague. Panicked your father.
I'm fine now. He took very good care of me. You know, he wants to become a healer, and he's already very good. He saved my life, you said. The king tried to regain his composure, then added, he. They must be talking real loud. Probably they're like screaming in the hallway instead of a giant megaphone. So uh,
Seems I am proud of the both of you in this case.
he looked around, a little unsure. Does it mean you approve of what I did? Your father took a moment to think, then replied,
I would have preferred you did not if you did not run away. However, I understand completely that it was impossible for you to do anything otherwise. I see that you care for our people and are creative enough to find interesting ways to use your talents to your advantage. I think it is about time to give you some more responsibilities.
wow! Really? This is all it took for me to run away? Your father then took out a huge wooden chest and said,
Get this open for me, will you?
you did as asked, and watched as the king slipped a huge ruby pendant around your neck. I had no clue what that was supposed to be, so I just decided to make it up. I know the AI's input is so random. You blinked, confused. What is this? Is it?
He nodded. Yes, you can now perform royal duties for me, as your siblings do.
Your eyes opened wide and started tearing up. Really? When do I start? What do I do? Your father chuckled.
Not too fast, young miss. First of all, I would prefer for you to finish your recovery. Second, in the meantime, I will hire people to assist you during your quest.
You tilted your head to the side. Huh? Quest? He smiled at you warmly, then clarified things for you.
I think you could be useful out there, directly near the people of our kingdom. You will be my eyes, my voice. I trust you. Now tell me, what kind of people would you like to have around you for your quest?
I can't read. Bleh. You started thinking. What a good question. What are you even going to do out there? It wasn't as if you could sing your way into helping the entire kingdom or something. One thing was sticking to your mind, however. You needed to understand the kingdom better, to see where were the issues coming from, to find real solutions. I would need an historian. Perfect, said the king. He kept thinking. If you wanted to survive out there, you also needed somebody to cure you if anything happened to your well-being again. You would also need someone who could fight in case you needed protection from creatures or bandits. I'm not too sure. Probably some sort of healer? A fighter? I don't know. What do you think? You said, uncertain. Your father laughed, finding your honesty adorable.
I will think of who could be necessary as well. Do not worry for now. Please just rest.
Well, at least this time I did other things than just rest. You smiled, then lay down and fell asleep. That fast. You woke up the next day feeling exhilarated from your future quest. Beyond that, you felt surprised to see your friend Malagos being there. Indeed, I'm still here, he said with a little half smile. How is that? You asked with overflowing curiosity. Well, you see, apparently your parents were really impressed I saved you from the Scarlet Plague. So they asked me to tag along with you for your quest. I accepted. He couldn't believe your ears. But the school! Weren't you supposed to? He interrupted you. It's fine. I will have professors with me to help me learn while on the journey. I will still accomplish my goals. You didn't know what to think. You were very happy. And yet you felt a little bit of guilt for leaving your home. Really? You had spent too much time there after all. The typos I make everywhere. Leaving the familiar place would feel strange. Ran away from suffocating royal life. Moonlight as an entertainer. Almost died. Came back after weeks to your void parents. Who reprimanded you for it. Only to get handed royal duties for being kind. Never punished. Oh yeah, no. You know what? The parents of the princess, they can't say no to her. They love her too much. And they melt every time they look her in the eyes. Like, oh, how can I be mad at her? What did I just stumble into? Oh, something weird. I don't know how to explain this better. It's just weird. Yeah. You would probably miss your family very much. The freedom was still what you had been longing for, however, so you couldn't complain. Also, since this time, you were going to live with your parents' blessing. That meant you wouldn't have to hide from them this time. In other words, you could easily contact them anytime. This perspective helped you cheer further up. We should go, said Maligos. After getting ready, you had to say goodbye to your family. You reached the ground level of the castle, where your parents and siblings were waiting for you with a group of unknown people. They got egg collectors, girl. Collectors. Truly peak writing. Yes! Don't you love egg collectors? This is the best job. Your father greeted you and introduced them. My dear Bull, here are some of the people who will assist you during your journey. First, here we have this Jamong gentleman, Ursa Josan, who is both a druid and a metamorph, who can turn himself into a bear. Okay. The audacity! They take care of the eggs. Second, we have this eminent member of both the Science Faction, the Renaissance Council, and the Healers Council, Dr. Joyman. As he is a healer, professor, fortune teller, herbalist, chef, and also entertainer. Wow, he's everything. After that, let me introduce you to this lovely Burton, kitty artist, also member of the Renaissance Council and also a fortune teller, druid, and entertainer specialist of the fine arts. Here we have this very prominent member of the History Guild, who, aside from being an historian, is also a fortune teller. Again, so many fortune tellers. This fair right here, Etherin Garould,
is a Norton Farin, member of the Mercenary Guild, alongside your new friend Meligos. He happens to be a shapeshifter, brawler, and druid. Over here, meet Lady Hibiscus, a noble member of the Renaissance Council. This Aviarian is a diplomat, a trendsetter, an entertainer, and bard. Yay! She's responsible for a lot of your clothes. Did you know?
Really?
With her, we have this, Mada? He's an egg collector who will apparently take care of a Lady Hibiscus's eggs during the journey.
We could not have the quest, the party complete without an egg collector in the bunch, you know? So dumb. I love this. Any bird eggs. Just eggs. uh, one by one, everyone bowed to you with respect. It made you slightly uncomfortable. It's not like you were any more important than any of them. They were probably going to be doing most of the work. You smiled at each of them and thanked them for their assistance.
Now, before we leave, said your dad. Are you leaving too?
Egg. Eggs to choose your adventure story. Yeah.
You'll have to note that there are a few other people here and there scattered around the kingdom who are also part of this mission. You nodded.
There sure was a lot of people. At least there wasn't a ridiculous amount of healers among them. Seemed like your parents weren't too paranoid about your safety. Then you asked, I was wondering, why are there so many fortune tellers in the team? This is indeed a bit strange. The king let out a hearty laughter.
That is very simple. For protection. The best protection will always be prevention. With all these fortune tellers, they should always know in advance if something bad might happen to you. I can't read. Bad might happen to you.
You thought to yourself, never mind, they are still paranoid. You then said your goodbyes to your family and left with your fellowship. Woo! The king said the first druid short. So the first druid short with how much he hyped up the other party members. Yeah. Wait, who was this already? I need to remember. Justice for my guy Ursa. Also, yo, egg collector's back. Yes, it's the same one too. I think he wasn't so into the history guild, historian, fortune teller guy. He wasn't into this guy either. He walked out and felt somewhat shy to start a conversation. He hesitated a bit, then broke the silence. How shall I call you? Oh boy. Okay.
You don't need to call me anything. I'm not anyone special. Just a normal person after all,
said the historian. You were about to disagree with that, when Etherin replied to your initial question as well.
I would much rather be called Kin, thank you.
You nodded. Okay, noted. Then felt the intense stare of the Magadan on you. He didn't say anything, however. How about you? You asked him. There was an awkward silence. Heg, he said with a smirk. He thought about it for a moment. I will call you Hector. Hector! You like the name. Dr. Joyman laughed and said,
What an excellent name!
You giggled, then let out a louder laughter. You loved puns. I'm very eager to work with all of you, you added. Please stop, requested Malikos. But his teacher was still laughing as well. Looks like he enjoyed puns too, unlike his pupil. You all started talking some more and getting to know each other's. By the time you all made it to the village, you were already feeling like friends. Um, Once more, the story shows its peak writing. Let's go, Hector! Well, unrelated, but I couldn't help but notice your window has no glass. Why is that? Asked Malagos, curious. You had no clue what the glass was. Huh? No what? You inquired, confused. Glass. Do you not know what glass is? This translucid, solid material. He tried to clarify. You couldn't understand. Ice? It would have melted. He shook his head. No, not ice, glass. Ice is just frozen water. Glass is made out of sand and wouldn't melt under normal circumstances. He couldn't recall such a thing ever existing at home. That seemed impressive, but totally unknown. I don't think we know of this material. What would be the use it the what would be the use of it for a window? He replied. Well, to block the elements, like the rain and snow or even the wind. To not let insects and animals get inside. Seems like common sense, he explained. That seemed like a genius idea. You started wondering why you did not have glass. While fair people apparently did. You decided to ask the historian. The eclector sounds so extreme. So extreme! um, why is that fairies have glass and we don't? There are so many things I'm confused about. We live in the same kingdom, right next to each other's, even in the same city, and yet we seem so alienated from one another. Why is it so? The historian looked at you. He knew exactly why this question was asked, but the full answer was far too complicated to delve into in such brief time. He knew the full answer couldn't be summarized quickly, especially for someone with a great lack of knowledge of both of your species' economical backgrounds. He was thinking of a really good reply. He started. We Yulins are idiots. What did you expect from the group of people who are too peaceful for their own good? You found yourself confused once more. Huh? What do you mean, too peaceful for their own good? You asked, not sure to follow his explanation. What was it? Should you have fought the fair people to steal away their glass secret or something? That would have been messed up. That couldn't be what the historian meant. He kept talking. The Ulins rule this region, with the entire royal court effectively being theirs, yet don't use their wealth and power to end the lawlessness and chaos of the western and southern reaches of their kingdom, control over which could bring them great wealth due to the largely untapped resources in those regions. You listened to his lecture, repeating his words back and forth into your head to try making sense out of them. You felt so foggy brained, all of this barely made sense to you. Were you still too tired due to your recent experience with the Scarlet Plague, or were you actually an idiot? Um, how should we regulate these people then? It's not like we should attack or arrest them or something. That would be mean. He sighed and shook his head.
You literally just proved my point about us Unins being too peaceful for our own good. A person in the royal family not wanting to give punishments to those who break the laws would have caused me to wonder how your house got into power, if not for a string of lucky events.
You felt uncertain of what to think of this. Are royalty supposed to be cruel or something? How should we proceed to become meaner? If that was the best thing for the kingdom, you probably had to do it. As you were thinking, you suddenly wondered how your family got the power in the first place. The historian kept going on his rant.
What I'm saying, while I'm saying that the royal court should be more active in their use of punishments, I am not saying that they should make every criminal punished with death. Also, you should sleep. I doubt much of what I said even made it to that head of yours. Oh no!
You were taken aback by that last part. Eh? No, 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 I'm fine. Of course. No death sentences. That would be cruel. How would that even be okay to have this kind of capital punishments if we couldn't even guarantee fairness in their application? Life seems just unequal to fair people in general, and if we started just punishing people, feel like I feel like they would end up with the short end of the stick once more. The historian nodded in approval as he continued. This is why this is why the increased amount of punishments should also be accompanied by economic and social reforms to prevent the fair from falling back into poverty. The Farens of the group nodded, agreeing with the statement. He kept talking. This is getting so complicated! That would be mean. That guy who stole the ring deserves dungeon time at least. Oh yeah! I forgot about that. The guy who stole the ring. What would the princess have done if she caught him? Would she been like, "Give it back, you big meanie," and now apologize? Oh my gosh. He kept talking.
And then we can make another step towards a better system of government, where hopefully everyone can have a say in how it's run.
You felt illuminated. Oh, yes, of course. How do you do that? He started thinking how to phrase that.
I'm really glad you understand, at least that part, that is. I am afraid you might not quite grasp the full extent of my answer to your last question. Alas, this is simply beyond you.
You looked down in shame. Oh, he simply sighed. Sorry for my incompetence. Kiriatis glared at the historian, unimpressed with his attitude. I can bite, she said.
Incredible, I can too, replied the man.
Kitty wasn't done. If you keep being so mean to this poor sweet girl, your flesh will likely meet my teeth. You felt uncomfortable. Please, guys, no fighting! The historian stared at Kitty and gave her a taunting smirk, just to annoy her. She was still glaring. However, nothing more happened, thankfully.
I can't believe you actually got away with that, muttered the historian.
Kitty smiled, satisfied, her numerous cats following her, circling around. She kept walking with everyone for a while, lost in thoughts, wondering if you could really do what you had been asked to. But perhaps the historian was right, and you weren't the right person for this task. As your worries were spiraling out of control, something got onto your head. Huh? Was your sole reaction? Lady Hibiscus had made you a large brimmed hat, and seemed both proud and glad. This should protect your porcelain skin from the sunlight, princess. Also, it looks absolutely darling on you. Curious, you took it off to take a good look at it. It surprisingly matched your outfit perfectly. What else to expect from a trendsetter? You put it back on and thanked her for a kind gesture. Oh my gosh. I'm going to enjoy watching you make a fool of yourself today, princess, whispered the historian. That immediately made you feel miserable and good for nothing all over again. Let's go! You kept walking and tried clearing your head of everything. If only you were good at being useful. Maybe you wouldn't be such a disappointment to everyone. You'll never achieve anything before reaching your 30th birthday. Kitty, upon seeing the sadness on your face, decided to bite the historian. He bit her back. You started to panic. Stop! These could get infected, you screamed, concerned. Manigos rolled his eyes and said, would serve them right. What is this dumb party? I'm being very serious right now, you pleaded. And so I am, replied the mercenary. Dr. Joyman stepped in and examined both bites, then proceeded to clean them up before applying a strange mixture on them to prevent infection and promote the healing of the injuries. He, however, had to stop Kitty from trying to eat it. I know it probably tastes delicious, but this isn't food. I'm going to eat it later, replied Kitty, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Soon enough, they found themselves at the great gate of the city. You felt nervous. You had never been that far legally. The further you were going, the more real this whole situation seemed to get. You had to stop to think for a moment. Everyone stopped with you, unsure of why you were being so quiet. Dr. Joyman was wrapping some bandages around Kitty's bitten arm to prevent her from licking it. She wasn't too happy. Why is she like this? You sat on a large rock near the gate and started pondering. The mission was pretty straightforward, yet incredibly vague. You were supposed to try and make the kingdom better. For doing so, you had to understand its issues better. But how? The historian seemed to hate your guts, and you were clueless about everything. You were thinking of sending everyone back home and hide yourself in a ditch. You crossed your arms on your lap and nested your face on them. I need a break. I'm tired, you pretended. Honestly, you were just about to cry. The historian approached you. Well, don't worry about being useless. At the very least, you won't be getting kicked from this party, unlike me in my previous one. You perked your head up, confused. Tears were streaming down your face, but you had forgotten. You were more concerned about the historian. Huh? What do you mean? Who kicked you out? Why? You felt sorry for him, a bit angry too. Who dared kick this man out of his party? He seemed like an expert in his domain. Whatever the reason was, it had to be unfair. He answered, I was kicked from my last party because they didn't want to deal with me. If there's any consolation for you, it's that you'll probably end up remembered by history as being some sickly princess. What? This is what? You look down. You're probably right. What the heck is this conversation? You were kicked from your party, historian? I wonder why. Yeah. Then took a deep breath and added, but don't worry, I'll make sure the entire world will remember you as the best historian to have ever been. He did not seem to take you that seriously. However, he added,
As used as you might be, at least you aren't as hard to deal with as that bite happy birthing girl.
As that bite happy birthing girl. That's a mean thing to say for her. You sobbed. She made that angry cat noise. That was a bit chaotic, but was it that he was trying to cheer you up? How strange. Soon enough, everyone was around you, trying to help you feel better. Kitty handed you her cuddliest cat. Maligos was patting you on the head. Eggator drew a smiley face on one of his eggs and showed it to you. Lady Hibiscus hugged you. Kin simply patted your back. Usa kept an eye on the historian, just in case of him saying anything rude again. Dr. Jayman said, I love your radio personality. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Exactly! Who knows? That made you burst into laughter. You thanked everyone, then apologized for crying. You can tell that it was also a role play, and the characters were people. And sometimes the people were there, and I would get the stuff they were writing in the chat and put in them in the story. Some of the players weren't there, so I played them for them. So that explains also why they are weird in both cases. hmm. Spread your humor to the world, he added. You were confused again. Maybe he means it is better than crying or something? You had no time to think about it any longer. The historian turned to Kitty. Stop biting me, you idiot! She growled at him. I'd stop biting you if you didn't be a pain! He tried stopping them. You had no idea how though, as you were puzzled. The doctor pulled you away and started spouting some more nonsense. I'm staring into the space that was filled by your face. Let's go eat some pretzels together. What the heck? And seemingly materialized a pretzel out of thin air. You were in awe. He had you sit back onto the rock, and the both of you started eating delicious pretzels, and I did not stop the conflict. For a while, you ate your pretzels and tried to think of solutions to the king's request. Suddenly, you felt something tapping you on the top of your head. You looked up. Usa was staring at you and opened his hands towards you. You gave him a pretzel. He smiled and ate it next to you. Everyone who approached you received a pretzel. What a sweet snack! It's salty actually, but whatever. Even though pretzels are salty, that's my nature. Peak writing. Soon everything and everyone was quiet. Was it possible that Dr. Joyman was some sort of charismatic genius? You glanced at him quickly, then averted your gaze. As the whole party was silent, you took the opportunity to think about your mission. You still had no idea. Hector is such a bro. So is my man Usa. That explains a lot of things, especially the confirmation that radio and pretzels existed. All things considered, that sounds cool. I don't even know what the heck is happening because I was listening too much to what the chat was saying, and that became so weird. Na, 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 na. As the whole party was silent, you took the opportunity to think about your mission. You still had no idea. Then it suddenly dawned upon you. What do you all think we should do? You asked. Why should you do all of the thinking? They were all involved into the task, and they had to work with you. Their opinions and ideas were just as valid and important as yours. Their input was valuable.
Maybe you could go around the kingdom and meet various people from everywhere. See what their lives are like and what they need, suggested Lady Hibiscus. Working on your night moves. We weren't searching for some pie in the sky summit, exclaimed Dr. Joyman,
Who makes no sense.
We could form a new council and discuss all of the things we know, advanced Orsa. We need to go to that hidden forest village to read about the great tragedy, simply replied the historian. The great tragedy? Repeated Malagos, confused. Also known as Vitrai's tragedy. It is supposedly the event that single-handedly ruined the budding relationship between Ulins and Faerins. I call nonsense. I really need to see for myself, however, clarified the historian. I think I heard of that before. Isn't there a book that allegedly talks about it in some library?
Oh, it was me. I thought it was the other guy. I thought they were talking together. I think I heard about that before. Isn't there a book that allegedly talks about it in some library? You had it curious?
Wow, impressive. You learned your lessons. Indeed, this book is rumored to exist in only one single copy, which is completely ludicrous. The entire legend is sketchy at best. Anyway, said book should be, according to the myth, in the hidden forest village, Grand Library.
Blah, blah, blah. He felt incredibly curious. Whoa! I want to see this book! He exclaimed, excited.
So do I. It is my life goal as an historian, he replied. You don't even believe in it, though, said Kin. Of course I don't. The whole thing is nonsense. For instance, the great tragedy might be pure invention to justify stigmatization. Considering only one source specifically mentions it, there is a decent chance it didn't happen. Especially for someone with an impact as large as especially for something with an impact as large as it supposedly had. Personally, I'm very skeptical of the whole thing. I need to see if the book itself even exists to begin with, he replied.
He thought about it for a brief moment. Sounds reasonable. Let's go look for this book then. Everyone's idea sounded like a good one. In fact, we shall try everything, I declare. Everyone agreed, and you were all set on going to the village. Woohoo! Forest time! The story is starting to start. Can you believe this? And we're reaching the end. uh, After these delicious pretzels, everyone was fit for the trip. You headed towards the woods with the group. You went through a great distance together. By the time the night sky filled the space above your heads, it still didn't feel as if you had reached anything. Only trees everywhere. Most of the group were starting to struggle in the darkness. As both hunger and exhaustion was weighing you all, you decided to stop there for the day and raise your tents. Usa made a campfire, everyone gathered around it, and Dr. Joyman prepared dinner for the group. Everyone ate happily, while discussing various topics to try and help you all bond together. Then, one by one, everyone went to sleep.
Don't you mean this is still the prologue?
No. It's still marked as the prologue, but I just didn't, put, chapter 1, but I just feel like before that, it was like the beginning of the book, I guess. I know what the story is after that, I just didn't write it. But that doesn't mean we're in a prologue. I just feel like they're starting to do things. eh. Something, however, kept you up. Was it stress? Was it that you couldn't prevent yourself from overthinking? You just couldn't seem to find sleep. You emerged from the tent and tried getting some fresh air. Looking around, something caught your attention. Was that someone? It really seemed like there was a person staring your direction. Curious, you approached and waved carefully. Hello? You called out. The Farin walked closer cautiously, then respectfully responded. Hi. He seemed mysterious, but friendly nonetheless. I am Bill. Nice to meet you, you told him warmly. He appeared embarrassed, maybe a bit worked up, even. Why? He still replied. I am the Shadow Hunter. Oh, that's an interesting name. Or title? Nickname? Where does it come from? You inquired. He seemed a little flustered still, and proceeded to explain. That is how I am usually referred as. Nobody ever spots me, except for now. You felt sorry for him. Oh, sorry. Well, you probably didn't expect from somebody to randomly walk out of their tent in the middle of the night, did you? Even as someone with great night vision. So it's not like you were supposed to be spotted. You who fumbled. You're right, he responded. I just wanted to meet you, to talk. To tell you I was hired by the king to protect you on your mission. The king knows about me because he always heard about a mercenary that never was spotted, but always did a good job at protecting everyone, and never failed in any task. You know what I think? This guy is a liar, probably. You were surprised. So, you are a member of the team? You explained. He nodded. Welcome, you greeted. You were incredibly curious now. Did you follow us secretly all day long? Could you get any rest? Do you need any? How did you manage to... So many things I'm wondering right now. I don't even know what to ask. I can do without sleep. Yes, I did follow you all day, and I'm supposed to watch over you at every moment. My duty is to protect everyone in this company from beasts and bandits, he explained to you. You frowned. Well, how are you meant to protect us from anything, and if the day we need you, you are too exhausted to do anything? He tried justifying himself. It's not like I don't take short breaks to have energy again. You weren't convinced. You are one to speak, princess, staying up at night like this. Cannot be too good for you, can it? He added. Well, at least I tried, and I'll try again. I just need to clear my head, you said a bit salty. I see, he said, smiling a bit. You blinked. You decided to step back into the camp. You returned to your tent and lay down. It wasn't long before you fell asleep. I think the stream is buggy, but I don't know why. Literally, nothing is happening. I'm reading text. Maybe I could, like, wait. Do like this thing. Okay. Sorry, where is the thing? Where is it? There. There you go. Okay. You woke up too early the next day, as everyone had fallen asleep way before you. The historian teased you about it. Malagos, Usa, Kitty, and Dr. Joyman appear concerned for you. You promised you were fine. The group had breakfast. I guess the stream couldn't handle the peak riding. Yeah, but this is so strange, literally. I'm just reading text. This is supposed to take nothing. So funny. The stream is buffering with that. I guess I'll have to stop once I reach the end of the text. For today, I won't write anything new. It's just a recap today. Yeah, where was I? The group had breakfast and continued their journey for one more day. You walked for a long time, and your legs were already sore. What a pain. You were wondering how were you meant to find a village whose name literally implies that it cannot be found. Come to think of it, the Shadow Hunter wasn't meant to be seen either. And he was. Maybe it wasn't too hopeless after all. As you were lost in thoughts, you weren't paying too much attention to your surroundings. You got your foot caught in some roots and tripped, but the historian kept you from face planting. Can you even walk on your own, or is this too difficult for you too? He asked you. Sorry. You sighed.
No, that's very rude, Mr. Historian,
Called him out Dr. Joymond. Falso answer, he rolled his eyes at him. Personally, you felt already happy that someone stepped in for you and it made you smile. Then you remembered another thing that was bothering you. But seriously, what should we call you? I don't know about the others, but I don't want to keep calling you the historian. Don't you have a name? He shrugged.
I don't actually know my name, much less if I even had one.
Such an answer had you both concerned and confused. You tried thinking of something. Well, then, I shall call you inconnu. From now on, it means unknown in French. I learned that language when I was younger, as my name was also in that tongue and I was really curious about it. The historian somehow accepted the nickname, even appeared to appreciate it. It's trying so hard to survive. You reached a thicker, denser area of the forest. There were clear, tall trees, the leaves of which shivered in the cold wind. It was unusually dark and quiet. No one even dared speaking, for a moment, as to not upset the eerie atmosphere. You felt nervous and got goosebumps. Dr. Joyman shifted your attention to something else.
What does your name mean then?
You were caught off guard by his question, then remembered what you were saying right before. Right. You casually mentioned your name had a meaning in another language, but never elaborated on that. That's oddly a cool concept for a historian of all people to not have a name. The nickname too adds to it. Also French confirmed? Yes, French confirmed. I could do a French stream for like July 14 just for the funsies, but nobody would understand a thing I'm saying. Ah, Bubble. My name translates to bubble, he replied.
Oh, a colorful, gentle little name for colorful, gentle little princess. How fitting!
He reacted gleefully. You felt a bit flustered and smiled again, fidgeting with your hair. How should he respond to that? What even was that? An observation, most likely. A comparison. You had had a strange reaction, no matter what. Thank you, I think. He chuckled. The whole thing had distracted you from how creepy the area was. Soon enough, you were at peace again. You kept going, and the sky cleared upon you, but it remained fairly frisky. Lady Hibiscus had quickly made you a nice and warm cloak to keep you comfortable, and passed it on you. Thank you very much, you said to her, grateful. You're welcome, dear, she told you with a warm smile. Anyone feels cold? You asked. I'd grind my Duolingo lessons for the fun of it. For real? I mean, I guess. Can't think about it. That could be a funny stream. What am I even supposed to do on that day? I forgot. It could be terrible of a stream if I did that. July 14. Katamari Damacy reroll. Ah, and the game is in French too. Because I forgot to change the language. Okay. The historian pulled a woolen blanket from his pack. He wrapped himself into it. Kitty was seemingly cold as well, using her cats as some sort of makeshift cover. Odd. You weren't too sure what to think of it, so you made a request. Do you think you could make warm clothes for everyone? She nodded. Of course, no problem. It will require some time, but I will make it happen. Lady Hibiscus started measuring the other members of the group and began her work. What an amazing display of talent! She was so useful. Everyone here was so useful, except for you, probably. You started wondering how you could make yourself a valuable asset for the team. What was going to be your new worry of the day? Was that going to be your new worry of the day? Probably. We reached the end! The day was sunny and pleasant, but if a bit chilly. It was a beautiful day. But the sun wasn't helping you and your companion make it through the day. What is this? Am I supposed to pick one or something? I don't know. Um, yeah. So, since this stream was laggy a bit, somehow, how can it even be laggy? I'm just reading text. But yeah, I can't deny it happened. So, we had a long 2 hours and 20 minutes long recap. Jeez. Next time we play this, I'm going to continue the story. If people liked it, I guess. Took a bit to understand it by just hopping in. Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. I mean, literally, I was rereading all this because I hadn't worked on this in 2 years, and most of the viewers of now didn't know the story. So I decided to read it again, so people would know what the heck was happening. So next stream of this game, I'm going to write more. So I'm going to thank everyone. Thank you, Prism. Thank you, Negative1FPS. Thank you, Skybret. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Dabos for LOL. Thank you, Teresa Wall. Thank you, Messengertic V. I'm sorry, I didn't read it well. Thank you, Metallian. Thank you, Crow73. And thank you to anyone else who might have watched this or might watch this later. You're welcome. I had a lot of fun, so I hope you had some fun too. And I hope I get to see you again another time. We will bye bye. You're welcome.